You can run away from everything. From problems. From people. From yourself in the mirror. But there is one gaze you cannot hide from, even in the dark. It doesn't blink. It doesn't look away. It doesn't tire. It looks from within. You can laugh, pretend that everything is under control, play other people's roles. But that gaze sees that you're lying. And you know it. There are moments when you are alone. No noise, no distracting thoughts, no voices. In those moments, you meet him. The one who watches. The one who knows the truth. About you. About your fears. About what you hide behind your smile, your efforts, your habits. It's not God. It's not your conscience. It's not your parents. It's the I within. Jung wrote that a person is not just I. Inside us are countless layers. Archetypes, shadows, masks, images, repressed desires. But all this is only realized when observation appears. It is this inner eye that is the first step towards awakening. And the most frightening. Because it does not judge. It sees. And you cannot hide from what it notices. You can live for years on the run. Change cities, relationships, hobbies, even names. But the inner pain does not go away. Because the gaze remains. It is within you. You may feel anxiety without knowing why. You may fear loneliness because when you are alone, it overwhelms you. But it is not loneliness that is scary. It is the encounter. With your true self. The I within does not scream. They just look. At your compromises. At the betrayal of your desires. At weakness disguised as strength. At strength trampled by fear. They see everything. Jung said, everything you are not aware of will become your destiny. And those who are aware break free. But to break free, you first have to meet. Meet your inner gaze. The part of yourself you've been running from your whole life. And that's where the struggle begins. Not with the world. Not with your enemies. With the person inside. The person who knows who you really are. Do you want to look yourself in the eye, without a mask? Can you handle it? If so, then you have a chance. Because this eye is the first to show you the truth. Not to humiliate you. But to wake you up. Conclusion. Sometimes the most terrifying enemy is the one who simply looks at you from within and no longer allows you to lie to yourself. When you say, I, who exactly is speaking? When you look in the mirror, who do you see? You think it's you. But it's just a persona. A mask. Jung didn't name it that by accident. Translated from Latin, persona means actor's mask. It's what you show the world. You are a son, a daughter, a partner, an employee, a citizen. You can be kind, responsive, successful. You may know how to behave. You can be strong, confident. But behind all this is just a role. You hardly know the real you. You weren't born with a mask. You were born with a cry, pain, breath. You were alive. Rough. Real. But then the training began. You can't do that, be good, don't get angry, shame on you, die, but don't show weakness. You learn to be convenient. You learn to be needed. You learn to be normal. And at some point, you disappeared. Only the mask remained. And beneath it, emptiness. And that's when the inner eye appears. And it looks. Not at the mask. At the emptiness. At what you yourself don't want to see. You don't remember when you started betraying yourself. You don't remember how it started. But the inner eye remembers. It records everything. It knows when you smile, but really want to scream. It senses when you agree, but resist inside. It sees how you live a life that is not your own. And that's where the conflict begins. Between the role and the truth. between your social persona and your forgotten soul. You start to get tired. Your body aches. Your sleep is disturbed. Your emotions fluctuate. You call it stress. But it's not stress. It's war. Between who you have become and who you were meant to be. And the I inside won't let you rest. It whispers. This isn't you. You're playing a role. You've forgotten who you are. But you don't want to hear it. Because if you do, you'll have to change everything. And you're afraid. Because you'll lose your mask. And with it, you'll lose approval, status, relationships, security. But if you don't hear it, you'll lose everything else. Yourself. Freedom. Honesty. And meaning. You can keep playing. But the eye doesn't blink. It will watch. And wait. Until you get tired of being someone else. Until you want to be yourself again. Conclusion. You struggle with yourself because you are not living your own life. And inside you, someone already sees this. Every person carries within themselves something they do not want to know about. These are not just character traits. This is the shadow. Jung wrote, the shadow is what you repress. What is forbidden. Inappropriate. Scary. Shameful. It is not necessarily evil. Sometimes your strength lies in your shadow. Sometimes it is your sexuality, aggression, brightness, wildness. Sometimes it is your protest, pain, thirst for truth. Everything you were condemned for as a child. Everything you couldn't live openly. It hasn't gone anywhere. It has gone into the shadows. You may not be aware of your shadow. But that doesn't mean it isn't there. You just don't see how it controls you. The inner eye sees. It doesn't judge. It doesn't fight. It just watches you hide yourself from yourself. You say, I'm not angry. But the eye sees, you clench your jaw and your eyes burn. You say, I'm not jealous. But it sees how you despise other people's success because it hurts you that you don't live that way. You say, I'm hardworking. But it knows that you're just afraid to look deeper into yourself. Shame is the main guardian at the door to the shadow. It is shame that makes you blind. You cannot admit to yourself that you are jealous, that you are angry, that you want power, that you are afraid of weakness. Because inside you there is a program. I must be good. I must be loved. If they see me for who I really am, they will reject me. That is why you hide. Even from yourself. But what is hidden does not disappear. It distorts your life. You judge others because you don't allow yourself to be judged. You despise weakness because there is a helpless child inside you. You attack when you are afraid of being exposed. You wear a mask because deep down you have a wound. And that's when the inner eye becomes terrifying. Because it is not blind. It sees everything. Your lies. Your vulnerability. Your anger. Your desire for love, which you hide under control. It sees you completely. Unedited. Without makeup. And that drives you crazy. Because you want to be pure. And it shows you the dirt. You want to be strong. And it shows you the fear. You want to be spiritual. And it shows you how you pretend to be enlightened just so you don't have to feel the pain. The shadow is not your enemy. It's just waiting for you to stop hiding from it. When you stop being ashamed of yourself. When you dare to say to yourself, I am. With all of this. And I am ready to see. Conclusion. What you hide controls you. Until you admit it, you are not free. And your inner eye will remind you of this again and again. Pain. You don't want to feel it. You avoid it. You drown it out. You dissolve it in activities, TV shows, alcohol, work, other people. You have learned to live so as not to touch it. But it is still there. It does not go away. It sits there, in your body. In your voice. In your reactions. It comes alive when you are alone. When it gets quiet. When you are left without protection. And then you meet it again. Unexpectedly. As if out of nowhere. A flash of irritation. Sudden anxiety. Guilt. Emptiness. But no. It's not out of nowhere. It's your pain. The one you didn't live through. The one you turned away from. And the one that the eye inside always saw. Pain is a mirror. It reflects everything that has been forgotten. All the trauma, rejection, shame, fear, humiliation, loneliness. Everything you went through but couldn't bear. And now you live your life avoiding contact with that mirror. You don't look there. You look at others. You judge them. You control them. You strive for success, acceptance, power. You put on armor. But the mirror is still there. It is always nearby. And the more you turn away from it, the louder it echoes. Through your body. Through your breakdowns. Through your indifference, which hides your exhaustion. Jung said, "We don't heal by avoiding pain. We heal by going through it. But to go through it, you have to face it. Look. Don't turn away. But you're afraid. Because pain is weakness. Because you were taught, don't cry. Don't feel. Be strong. And you became strong. Iron. Dead. But the eye inside knows. You are not iron. You're just afraid of falling back into the place where you were already hurting. Afraid of breaking. Afraid of admitting that pain lives inside you. And here's the paradox. As long as you avoid it, you remain its prisoner. But when you face it, you begin to live. You don't have to scream. You don't have to suffer. You just have to be honest. With yourself. Look in the mirror. See, yes, I'm in pain. And I won't run away anymore. The eye inside doesn't demand tears. It demands the truth. And when you acknowledge your pain, you become stronger. Because strength does not come from the absence of pain. It comes from the ability to endure it. Conclusion. True strength is not born when you run away from pain, but when you look it in the face. And the eye inside is your guide at that moment. You want to control everything. Your life. Your work. Your loved ones. Your emotions. Even your face in front of others. You don't call it control. You say, "I'm just keeping everything in order. I'm getting organized. I don't allow myself to be weak. I know how to control myself." But behind all this is fear. Fear of chaos. Fear of the unknown. Fear of being imperfect. Fear of letting go. Control seems like strength. But in reality, it's your prison. Beautiful. Smart. Comfortable. But still a prison. You live with tension inside. You have to anticipate everything. Calculate everything. Not make mistakes. Not get caught. Not reveal yourself. You're afraid that if you let go for even a moment, everything will collapse. You will collapse. And that's why you never relax. Even when you sleep, you're tense. Even when you smile, you're on guard. Because deep down, you don't trust the world. Or yourself, for that matter. Control is an illusion of security. But it doesn't save you. It burns you out. It cuts off spontaneity. It kills joy. And it makes real intimacy impossible. You can't be truly with another person while you're in control. You can't be alive while you're holding back every movement of your soul. You can't be yourself while you're playing the perfect game. And the eye inside sees it. It sees how you shrink when someone tells you the truth. How you run away from your feelings so you don't lose control. How you hide your pain behind rules. How you've become a hostage to your own masks. You've become a hostage to predictability. Because it's safe. But it's not alive. Jung said, "What you resist persists." The more you want to keep everything under control, the more chaos builds up inside. And one day it will break out. In the form of illness. A breakdown. Emptiness. Or a scream. You can't control everything. And that's not a failure. It's life. It is precisely in the renunciation of total control that trust is born. It is in trust that strength lies. This does not mean giving up. It means seeing that you are not alone. That there is something greater within you than control. Intuition. Wisdom. Flow. And the I within is part of that flow. It does not need control. It needs clarity. Authenticity. Let go. Not right away. But honestly. Step by step. Let one moment be real. Without a script. And you will feel. Life is not a threat. It just wants you to finally step out of the cage. Conclusion. You hold everything in your hands, afraid to fall. But it is this grip that prevents you from taking flight. The inner eye sees that you are captive. Time to get out. You can continue to hide. Play the good guy. The enlightened one. The imperturbable one. You can meditate for years, read books, work on yourself. But if you have never looked into the eyes of your shadow, you will remain on the surface. The shadow is not just emotions. It is the part of you that has been rejected. You did this when you were still weak. Defenseless. Small. You decided. This should not be a part of me. It is dangerous. It will not be accepted. It is shameful. And you cut it out. Removed it. Blocked it. But the shadow did not disappear. It waits. Sometimes quietly. Sometimes it screams, raising its voice in arguments. Sometimes it presses down, provoking burnout. Sometimes it is silent, and then explodes into depression. You think. There's something wrong with me. No. You've just ignored the part of you that is also you for too long. A real encounter with the shadow is not about fighting. It's not about winning. It's not about working through it. It's a conversation. Without masks. Without trying to be better. A conversation with the part of you that you betrayed. Because you wanted to survive. Because you wanted to be accepted. Sit down. Mentally. Alone. Imagine that she is sitting across from you. Your shadow. Maybe anger. Maybe envy. Maybe it's tired of being good. Maybe it's the pain you've been hiding for years. And ask it a question. What do you want to tell me? Why are you here? What are you waiting for? And listen. No excuses. No analysis. No attempts to change yourself. You'll be surprised. The shadow doesn't want to destroy you. It wants you to stop rejecting it. It wants to be recognized. Heard. Integrated. And only when you look at it. Not as an enemy. But as a part of yourself. Will you become whole. You will stop being half. You will begin to breathe. Freely. Deeply. With yourself. Because at that moment you will say to yourself, I accept you. You are not a mistake. You are my truth. The I inside does not judge. It was the one who called you to this meeting. It pointed out the repeating patterns. To the pain. To the breakdowns. To the anxiety. You thought it was punishment. But it was a sentence to honesty. And now you sit before yourself, real. With your shadow. With the truth. Without pretense. This is not a moment of weakness. It is a moment of initiation. Conclusion. As long as you fight the shadow, you fight yourself. And when you start talking to it, you begin to understand yourself. This is where inner maturity begins. You can turn away. You can pretend you don't notice. You can laugh when it hurts. You can convince everyone and yourself that everything is fine. But the eye inside does not blink. It is always watching. Even when you don't want to see. It sees how you lie to yourself. I'm happy. I'm coping. I just need a little time. It hears the tremor beneath your words. It knows, you're not living, you're just holding on. You turn away from the truth because you're afraid it will destroy you. But it is precisely this escape that destroys you. The paradox is simple. You think you're saving yourself by hiding. But in reality, you're losing yourself. And everything you suppress, everything you don't acknowledge. The eye inside continues to see. It shows itself in dreams. In recurring situations. In physical symptoms. In sudden fatigue that cannot be cured by rest. In the emptiness after achieving a goal. It is not a judge. It is not an accuser. It is a mirror. And in this mirror, you cannot be anyone else. Only yourself. Are you afraid to look? Afraid that you won't be able to handle what's there? But the truth is, everything you hide is already inside you. You already carry it with you. You already feel it. You just don't name it. And as long as you run, you will remain a stranger to yourself. Look. Just look. No panic. No conclusions. No idea of fixing. Just be. Just see. When you don't look, it looks at you. And he's waiting for you to gather the courage to look there too. Because the moment you look, everything will start to change. You will see that you are not a victim. That you are not broken. Not damaged. Not abnormal. Just alive. Just haven't heard yourself in a long time. Jung wrote. Consciousness does not arise from external light, but from the awareness of darkness. We think that awakening is about light. No. It's about honesty. And when you look where you didn't want to look, you will regain a part of yourself. It is there, in what you don't want to feel. That your strength is hidden. Your wholeness. Your ability to be truly alive. You weren't blind all this time. You were scared. But now, you can choose differently. Conclusion. You can't hide from who you are inside. The eye doesn't look away. And when you finally decide to see what you've been running from, you get closer to yourself for the first time. You thought that light was the opposite of darkness. That light was good, success, purity, peace. And darkness was pain, failure, weakness, evil. You tried to choose a side. To be light. To be strong. To be pure. But reality is not a duel. And Jung said it again and again. Light and darkness are not enemies. They are two sides of the same whole. Light without darkness is blinding. And darkness without light destroys. But together they create depth. They create form. Volume. Life. You wanted to get rid of the darkness. But in doing so, you made it stronger. You rejected anger. And it quietly poisoned your joy. You suppressed fear. And it turned into panic. Light is not an escape from darkness. Light is the ability to look into it. And not lose yourself. Do you understand? You don't become strong by rejecting pain. You become strong when you know how to enter it. And come back out. Not broken. But more alive. You think that truly enlightened people are always calm. But that's an illusion. True depth lies in those who have gone through the hell of their shadow, and have become neither monsters nor victims. Light is not the opposite of darkness. Light is what shines in the darkness. Right there. In the most vulnerable place. In the most despicable place. In the most forgotten place. Because that is where life lives. Real life. Raw. Unadorned. Unfiltered. Yours. The eye within is the light. It does not fight darkness. It illuminates it. It looks straight into the pain, and stays. It does not turn away from ugliness, because that is you too. This is the path to maturity. This is the path to growing up. Not a childish division into good and bad, but acceptance of yourself as a whole. You are, and light. You are darkness. And as long as you choose only one side, you are not whole. You are a fragment. You are a role model. A mask. But inside you, everything is already there. Anger. Love. Fear. Wisdom. You don't have to be the best version of yourself. You can be yourself. And that is the hardest thing to do. And the most liberating. Conclusion. Light does not deny darkness. It passes through it. The eye within is the one who goes to the very depths of your pain and illuminates it with its silence. Not to destroy, but to give you back to yourself. Dangerous does not mean cruel. Dangerous does not mean aggressive. Dangerous means alive. As long as you are polite, convenient, predictable, the world eats you alive. You are used, stepped on, ignored. You grit your teeth, endure, swallow. You think, I am good. I am strong. But you are deaf to yourself. You are safe. And that means you are powerless. Jung once said, a person does not become good by suppressing evil within themselves. They become good when they realize their capacity for evil, and choose not to use it. That is where maturity lies. That is where true morality lies. Not in blind obedience, but in knowing what you are capable of, and consciously choosing. You become dangerous when you no longer lie to yourself. When you acknowledge your shadow. When you are not afraid of your anger, your pain, your no. When you can stand up and say, enough. I will not go against myself. I am not obliged to be convenient. That's when the world feels. You've woken up. Dangerous does not mean that you attack. Dangerous means that you have become uncontrollable. You no longer react like a trained animal. You choose. You see. You know where manipulation comes from. You feel where they want to bend you. But you don't bend anymore. You are not weak because you feel pain. You are not bad because you can get angry. You are not a monster because you want to be free. On the contrary. If you've never been angry, you simply had nowhere to go. If you've never said no, you didn't know yourself. If you've always wanted to be good, you were a prisoner. A dangerous person is someone who is no longer torn apart inside. They have pulled themselves together. They have allowed themselves to be honest. They don't need permission to be themselves. And in that lies strength. You are no longer a boy waiting for praise. Not a girl afraid of not being accepted. You are a person who knows their darkness. And therefore, you are capable of holding the light. The eye inside has been leading you there all this time. Into the depths. Into the unpleasant. Into the wild. And now you are on the threshold. You are no longer playing games. You are looking straight ahead. You are saying, I know who I am. And I will not give it up to anyone. Conclusion. You become dangerous not when you hide your darkness, but when you accept it, and control it. Only then does your strength cease to be fear. And becomes a choice.